Okay, everybody, this is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought, number 1794. I try to bring you morsels of a thought of wisdom every single day because knowing the right things to do is a form of wisdom, which means that we would do the right things to do, and then actually taking action to do it is called virtue. So, believe it or not, morsels of a thought can bring you to create virtue if you put in the magic action. If you put in the magic action. Today, we're reading from some wise people named Greg S. Reid and Ben Haldeman. Lunar Legacy, the DNA of Success. We're reading chapter 25. So I'm simply bringing you words of wisdom from other people, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the words of wisdom. Chapter 25. Destiny screeched with excitement when she received the message that one of her college friends was coming to town. Ben, Sloan is amazing. She's one of those people who makes everyone feel included. She's able to connect with everyone, and her positivity is contagious, she told him. Yesterday, this is Yin Yang talking. Yesterday, I had a friend who also happens to be a certified life coach who gave me some really good tips about how you can convince someone of something if you team up with them. Instead of saying you ought to or you should, take those words out of your vocabulary and team up with them. I haven't figured out the words yet, but eventually I think I do know how I will. Anyway, back to the book. The authors Greg S. Reid and Ben Haldeman say, it's so good to hear from her, but even better, she says she's going to be in town. I can't wait. We haven't seen each other in years, and I'd love for you to meet her. 2 weeks later, Ben met Destiny's friend, Sloan Reid. Almost immediately, she made him feel at ease. I know Sloan Reid. After they were seated at their table in one of the area's many fine restaurants, Ben asked her to tell him about herself. I'm one of those people who does a lot. When someone asks what I do, people tell them I do all the things. While it might seem erratic and random, it is intentional, and it's all part of my personal mission to be light and love. How I serve that is to shine a light on others and their strengths and then love them through their areas of growth. As a self awareness and personal development coach, I have seen such an overlap where people just want to be seen and understood, so I've dedicated my life to understanding who I am and what I stand for, then using that to connect with other people as I guide and help them discover the same for themselves, Sloan told him. That's the way Sloan talks. Turning the tables, she asked him to tell her about himself, and Sloan couldn't help but notice his enthusiasm when he told her all about the Lunar Legacy project. When he finished, he asked, what is the legacy you would leave behind if you could, Sloan? I want people to understand who they are and know their amazing strengths. My hope is to leave knowing that the people I connected with felt understood, seen, and heard. With that, the door to growth opens, and that provides opportunities, she advised. It's all about helping people see themselves as I see them. If I could gift others with something, it would be a gold mirror. I love to say that I hold a mirror up for people, but I don't tell them who they are. I show them who they are. It is so important to take a moment to see our true selves, to see ourselves clearly without noise and distractions. To make my vision complete, that gold mirror would be engraved with the words light and love as a gentle reminder to others to always be kind to themselves and others and live in integrity. Sloan smiled. What do you want people to see when they gaze into your mirror? Destiny asked. When they look into the mirror and see themselves as they truly are, I hope they are proud of the person looking back at them, Sloan said. That's awesome, Sloan. I know so many people struggle with their self-image and self-esteem. It's commendable that you've made it your mission to change their perception. I'm curious what guided you to become a personal development coach. Care to share? Ben smiled. Well, it's been a journey, Sloan admitted. I grew up in El Paso, Texas, and went to school at Texas A&M. After graduating with a degree in political science, I wanted to see the world. So I traveled for a little bit, ultimately ending up in Nashville, where I worked for a business management firm. From there, I became a recruiter, helping people find their dream positions and helping them find their strengths and embrace their talents. Then I accepted a concierge banker position and I stayed until I got married and we moved to Kentucky. That's when I started my health and wellness coaching business. I've always had a passion for fitness and health because it has been a big part of my routine. I loved doing fitness and wellness plans, but the ironic part was getting to the heart of the issue and the root cause, which is where I thrived. Then one day, a client actually told me that I light up when we get to the personal and emotional issues behind their health and wellness goals. As a result, I challenged myself to make a huge pivot and I leaned into Enneagram training and coaching, which allows me to provide my clients with a roadmap of personal discovery and growth. My main objective is to be an advocate for their self worth. I want to promote grace within my clients as they do the best they can in every situation that presents itself. It sounds like there has been a lot of growth on your part too, Ben commented. It wasn't always easy. I had to break free from the mask I put on and free myself so I too could start my own journey of discovering my authentic self and who I wanted to become. Now, we are reading from Greg S. Reid and uh, Ben Haldeman. Greg S. Reid and Sloan Reid are not related, even though their names are spelled the same. And this is Lunar's Legacy, DNA of Success. We are reading Words of Wisdom from Other People, Morsels of a Thought, um, because we want to know the right things to do, which is wisdom. And then doing the right things is virtue. So, Sloan Reid is saying, sharing. Oh, I had to break free from the mask I put on and free myself so I too could start my own journey of discovering my authentic self and who I wanted to become. Sharing that with people across the world has become a blessing, Sloan admitted. Turning to Destiny to gauge her reaction, Ben decided to ask Sloan an important question. How would you feel about sharing your love and light on the moon? He asked. That would even be That would be an even bigger blessing. I'm in. I'll get started right away. The first thing I want to do is go shopping. Destiny, let's go tomorrow after we're done with your morning yoga class, okay? Sure. What are you looking for? Destiny asked. A gold mirror, of course, that one that's fit for the moon and stars. Chapter 26. While Ben was earnestly finalizing the launch, Destiny had been working with Ben Reinberg, a commercial real estate mogul, with the hopes of finding a building for her business. Because he owned commercial real estate throughout the United States, she was confident he would be able to assess her needs and help her find just what she was looking for. To do that, Ben explained that he needed her to answer a few questions, the same questions all of his employees were asked. Using their answers, his company caters their work environment to support what they want in life. For example, if an employee says they want to work out 5 days a week, they make sure the employee has that opportunity. Then they can go back and ask what happened that they didn't get to work out that week. He explained that by doing that, the company is held accountable and the employee is held accountable to achieve their goals. As Ben Reinberg explained it, it was a deliberate effort to create an employee centric and people first initiative company. That sounds incredible. That's the kind of employer I would love to be. I would love to be when I open my studio, Ben, Destiny exclaimed. I'll ask you those same questions, Destiny. Based on your answers, I'll try to cater a location that supports what you want your business and life to look like, he explained. What we're doing is designing your playbook. So I know what is most important to you, not just for your business, but in your personal life. We want to do more than sell real estate. We want you to excel and achieve success. Ben then sat down with Destiny and gained insight into the things that mattered most to her, asking questions like, what does your perfect day look like? How do you want to design your life? Many were questions that she had never considered, and while they required some contemplation, in the end she gained some valuable recognition into herself and the business she wanted to create. Destiny was impressed with the way he connected with his employees and the way he connected potential buyers like her with properties that matched their business and lifestyle. It is rare that people or companies strive to make that connection, she observed. I believe that while everyone is responsible for their own selves, giving them the opportunity to find and fulfill their potential is important. Often, people think that their career and personal lives are separate, but I like to say that your personal life and your professional life are married, he elaborated. As a successful business owner, what advice do you have to give me as I begin my new endeavor? I could use all the help I can get, Destiny admitted. Believe in yourself and have tunnel vision toward your mission in life. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it, Ben replied. We are guided by our company's core values, which are transparency, integrity, consistency, and expertise. We live by those values and they are instrumental to our success. Everyone in our company adheres to these values. Remember, Destiny, you are dealing with human behavior, so you have to consider that behavior all the time. It creates longevity and great community within our company. You can do that too, he encouraged. That is a type of atmosphere I want to create, and Destiny agreed. It works because it empowers people to perform at a higher level. Basically, we build capacity in our employees. After all, there are things that happen in life that reduce your capacity to perform at your job. That's why we teach our employees the best practices to have the most energy and capacity to be able to perform at a high level to achieve the success they want, he explained. Within my company, we teach our employees to own every aspect of their life. What a legacy to leave for your employees, Destiny exclaimed. She then went on to explain the Lunar Legacy Project with him. I have become so interested in legacies because of the work Ben has done. That's part of the legacy I want to leave behind. Another legacy is giving back and helping others. I also want to build wealth and help families create their own legacy through real estate investments. If there was one motto I could share that would help them do that, it would be that there is no such thing as can't. He said, we need to get rid of contractions like can't, won't, and shouldn't, because the human mind is our biggest obstacle. Our biggest obstacle is ourself, and words like can't convince us that something is not possible, that we aren't good enough. But we can, and we are good enough. We just have to believe it. Again, Destiny was reminded of the Lunar Legacy Project, a mission that some people didn't think was possible. It's proof that what you say is true. Imagine if everyone thought it couldn't be done. Humanity might not live on. While while we all do have different DNAs, I understand that humans are all the same. We have similar behaviors in how we communicate, interact, and do business. The difference between us is how we communicate, and I know that communication equals wealth. The better we communicate, the wealthier we will be, Ben stated. I've never heard that before, Ben. Would you be willing to share your insights and legacy you're leaving behind so you can reach people on a broader scale as, say, as far as the moon? She asked hopefully. That would certainly increase my capacity to help others, he replied. It will be interesting to communicate with people who don't exist yet and with beings we don't yet know exist. Anything is possible as long as we believe it is. This is Greg S. Reid and Ben Haldeman, DNA of Success, Lunar Legacy. We're in chapter 27. We're going to bring virtue into the world, morsels of a thought at a time. This is morsels of a thought number 1794, that many days in a row. And I bring you morsels of a thought of what is hopefully the right thing to do. You have examples here and stories to enjoy that might inspire you to do something really good for yourself that day that helps mankind. When we do things that help mankind, we do things that help ourselves. We also need to keep ourselves in the equation a little after that. And then we have purpose in the world. So, wisdom is knowing the right thing to do, and doing the right thing is virtue. So, now we're in chapter 27 of Ben Haldeman and Greg S. Reid, Lunar Legacy, DNA of Success. I've got so many friends in here. Yeah. Anyway, when Destiny shared Ben Reinberg's legacy with Ben, he was ecstatic and believed that it completed the project. For the next 2 weeks, he devoted himself to making sure he had everything in order. Creating a spreadsheet, he checked off every item, making sure nothing was missing. When he came across the kits submitted by Ken Ashby and Maris Seagull, he saw that he had indicated they wanted to include a song written by Ken entitled Each of Us. Putting in a quick call to them, he requested that they send him a digital version he could copy and place in the capsule. How's the project going since we last spoke, Ben? Ken asked. Well, from our calls that there were times when I thought I'd bit off too much, but with Destiny's help and everyone's willingness to step up and make this a success, I can proudly say that I think we're almost there. But like I said, there were times when I had my doubts, Ben admitted. How did you pull through those times? Maris asked. Well, I did exactly what you've taught me using the RF factor, four universal relationship rhythms of respect, responsibility, reframing, and resilience. If there were conflicts, I looked at my relationship with those things, whether they were with people, the finances behind the project, or dare I say, with myself. I had to force myself to see where I might be out of rhythm and get in alignment. And when I did, everything began to flow much better, he replied. This whole project is so much bigger than myself. There are so many dynamics and personalities involved. Those four rhythms work in unison across our personal, professional, and planetary relationships. They are the determining factor in success and the lifeblood of mastering connection in every aspect of our lives. And we believe that they will play a big role in how we are perceived and remembered by future generations and planetary life forms, Maris said. I agree, especially that we are all connected. And the most important relationship I got to address first was the one with myself. It took a lot of reframing and resilience, but I'm proud of how far I've come, Ben admitted. And now you're showing the world how far you can go, Ken pointed out. Not just me, each of us. The one thing I've learned is that all of us can change the world and our relationship with it. Just imagine the R factor might just plant the seeds for positive relationships in the solar system and beyond. Ben stated excitedly, that's why I want to make sure your song is included in the launch. Mere moments after they hung up, Ken sent those lyrics. Opening the file, Ben listened to the song for the first time. As he did, he marveled at how fitting the words depicted their purpose. Each of us, written by Ken Ashby, each of us a star, a brilliant light. Every star illuminates the night in its own way. All the lights combine to make the day. Tomorrow is not up to someone else. The hope you have is hope that you can trust. The truth is that the future is up to each of us. Each of us can build, each of us can teach, and reach inside. We can guide, and what we leave is up to each of us. Each of us can stand for something good. Every time we rise, we elevate the place we live. We expand our souls by what we give. Tomorrow is not up to someone else. The hope you have is hope that you can trust. The truth is that the future is up to each of us. Each of us can build, each of us can teach, and reach inside, we can guide, and what we leave is up to each of us. Do we really know or understand the power we all have in our hand? The answer's beyond a twist of fate. The question's not if, but what we create. Each of us can build, each of us can teach and reach inside. We can guide, and what we leave is up to each of us. By copyright Prosody Music, Prosody Music, all one word, all rights reserved. Chapter 28. As his timeline was closing in, Ben spent an entire week making sure everything was in place. All the information was saved, prepped, and ready to go. The DNA and messages from each participant, and yes, even Luna's DNA. He was proud that it had all come together so perfectly. The final step was to turn it in so it could be secured to Falcon 9 and launched into space. Ben reflected on the last year and how everything had changed for himself. He was feeling more confident and settled in his new role. As things changed around him, he didn't get swept away in the despair of politics or the wave of joy when his team won the World Series. His mind stayed focused on the present, where everything is temporary. The good times, the hard times, and even the changes were temporary. This mindset helped him ease into fatherhood and transition toward a new existence after the launch. He had been so focused on Luna and the Lunar Legacy launch that he hadn't done much planning for anything else. But now that his mission was nearing the end, he was already getting excited about what was next. He was aligned in his purpose, and the Lunar Legacy was just one step along the way. With other missions already being planned, this was just the beginning, and it was exciting. In a few short weeks after launching, Falcon 9 would land on the moon. He would receive an update when the capsule that contained their snapshot of mankind dropped successfully onto the moon's surface. He would be able to share every step of the launch and update live on his social media platforms. He triple checked everyone's messages and their information so no future life forms would find typos in his work. What would they think? What would they think of us then? He laughed to himself. It was at this stage that Ben gave himself the space to preserve his own legacy. In the project's infant stages, he'd struggled to define just what that was. But when he went to write it down, it came to him almost effortlessly. At the top of the page, he wrote, "Look inside and outside. Our inner universe shapes the outer world, for we are the dreamers of our own reality. Whoever and wherever you are, may your legacies be everlasting." Then he preserved his own legacy for Luna, for her children and their children, for future generations and space lovers to come, and for beings and life forms to come. My legacy is to be known for helping people explore their connection with the cosmos and their place in the story of humanity. I dedicated myself to helping people live their fullest lives and raising consciousness on planet Earth. I leave a legacy for both humanity and Earth in the universe, a snapshot of humanity that will live on and be told across the galaxy. Through these efforts, it is my hope that mankind and life on Earth will never disappear without a trace, but will live on for eternity. When these stories are discovered, I hope they are viewed as more beautiful than the mission that launched them. Above all, the greatest legacy I leave behind is my wonderful daughter Luna and her heart and dreams. She is my greatest accomplishment and proudest achievement. Ben Haldeman. It was a beautiful Monday morning when Ben, Luna, his parents, and Destiny arrived to observe the launch. He couldn't believe today was the day. To him, it felt surreal, like he was watching a movie. The weather was gorgeous, with the sun shining and a slight breeze in the air when they arrived at the launch site. Ben went live on social media and filmed as the Falcon 9 lit up the launch pad. Then, with a thrust of power and acceleration, it shot away from the Earth into the stratosphere. Ben watched as it grew smaller and smaller until it finally disappeared, leaving behind a blank sky. And as he gazed into the vastness of the sky, he, of the s- of the sky, he marveled at what had just occurred. It was nothing short of monumental. A part of him was in shock, finding it hard to believe that he'd finally fulfilled his childhood goal and life's dream. But he only had to look at the awe in Luna's eyes to know it was true. Afterward, they held a virtual celebration for all the participants, and Ben played the launch video again for those who hadn't watched it live. They cheered and toasted the lunar legacy together. Ben couldn't believe that everyone had made it, and he could finally put faces to the names of those he hadn't met. It felt like he knew them already, but it was nice to see everyone and support each other on their big day. As they cheerfully shared in their glee, Ben stepped back to take it all in. He felt an immense connection to each of them, and although he didn't know where their relationships would take them in the future, he knew their dreams would not stop at the moon. They had a far greater mission to take humanity to the stars. And here's a list of the featured co authors. This book would not have been possible without the contributions from our amazing thought leaders, entrepreneurs, spiritual leaders, and visionaries. Our co authors have made an impressive impact on the world around them. May their legacies continue to benefit and inspire others on Earth and to the moon and beyond. Ken Ashby and Maris Siegel, Carol Marzouk, Brady Slack, Ken Rochon, Lisa Williams, Susie Albert Miller, Daryl Stern, Nadia Linda Hole, Jan McGregor, Chris Noggle, Annette Cruz Padilla, Larissa Harrington, Jonathan Ellis, Kohila Sivas, Anna Malikian, Brian Poziano, Mark Willis, John Smith Jr., Victoria Rader, Tammy Joy Lane, Horatius Harris, Sloan Reed. So, this is how we end this book. We've talked about the authors, and this was done by Joint Venture Publishing. So, here we are. I will talk to you again later. You have a great day. Next week, we shall start on Larry Namer's book, Never Follow the Crowd, Recipes for Success. Visionary founder of E Entertainment TV Network, Larry J. Namer. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Old Kinderhook.